Hi, this is Chef Shalhoub, and I'm going to take you on a little tour of my garden and show you some of the herbs that I grow here in my house. The first one I want to show you is the stevia plant. And you're going, what's stevia? Sounds like a man's name or a girl's name. Anyway, stevia is a plant that they make Truvia out of, which is a sweetener, a natural sweetener that has no calories. So let's take a look. Okay, so here's this plant, and it's really pretty cool. And actually, if you look very close, you can see some flowers, and you can see the seeds right here. And these seeds will grow and make more flowers, more plants. So here we have this leaf here, and if you pick it off and try it, it's very, very sweet. So what I'm doing is harvesting the leaves, and I'm going to dry them and powder them and use them as a sweetener. So there you have. This is Truvia in the real life. Here we have rosemary. Rosemary, again, is another very strong herb, and it has more of a piney scent to it, and the leaves are very stiff, and it has to be chopped up very small in order to get the flavor into the food. And sometimes they'll take a stem and take all the leaves off of it and then skewer meat with it, which is also a very interesting way of handling it. Right next to it we have lavender. Well, lavender here is a very fragrant plant, and it's used for a lot of colognes and soaps and stuff. And then occasionally people will also use it in bread. I've never tried that, but I can imagine it would be very interesting and a little different. This one, it grows pretty wild, and it doesn't need a lot of water in order to grow. So that's kind of neat in a way. It's a drought-resistant plant. Okay, this is another form of lavender, which is a Spanish lace lavender. And, well, the flowers are a little bit dead now, but it also has a very interesting aroma to it. But I think the other one is much nicer. I like that one, the other one, better. So down here below my lemon tree is my lemon thyme. And lemon thyme has very tiny little leaves to it. Okay, as you can see, it's very small, and as it's named, it smells and tastes like lemon. Really cool stuff, because now they're not only seasoning food with it just in general, but they're also making sugary syrups out of it, adding it to lemonade and other desserts. So that's kind of interesting too. Keeping with the lemon theme, this is lemon verbena. Lemon verbena is used in a lot of herbal teas, and this particular plant, oh my gosh, is so fragrant. I mean, I wish this was smell-o-vision, because the aroma from this plant is so much like the most delicious lemonade you would ever want to try. And again, this is another plant that is somewhat drought resistant, and it stays green all year round. It has nice little white flowers to it, very, very tiny. But this plant is amazing, and if you can ever get yourself a plant of this, or, a small plant, stick it in the ground and it'll grow like crazy for you. So right around the corner here, I have another plant which is known as lemongrass. Now, lemongrass is, like it says, looks like grass, and is used in a lot of Asian cookery. Okay, and you just, pull off the leaves. Some of it I've seen where you use the stems, but I believe the leaf here is very fragrant, like lemon. And so, actually, there are a lot of plants that have a lemony flavor to it. So you have a lot of different possibilities. So this is lemongrass. And again, this one also is green all year round, so that's pretty cool to have a plant that stays green all year round instead of dying out. Some herbs just die out, and then you have to replant them with the fresh seeds every single year. Chocolate mint. So as the name implies, This is chocolate mint, and as the name implies, it has a faint aroma of chocolate. You really wouldn't use this in a salad, so to speak, but a lot of people would use it as a tea, and you can either put it in boiling water fresh, or you can dry it and then use it later in the year. This might die down a little bit in the winter when it gets really cold, but the roots still keep growing in the ground, and this will all fill in eventually and be very, very lush and full. So it's always wise to get rid of the weeds. Okay, this is spearmint, and this is the one that is used in cooking. Used in a lot of salads and such, and you can see how the leaves are a lot lighter green, a little bit longer, more pointy and jagged looking, and but this is not the one that is used in toothpaste. That one is peppermint, so that's a little bit different, a little bit stronger flavor. Here we have another kind of mint. This is known as pineapple mint, which supposedly has a little bit of a pineapple aroma, maybe an apple aroma. Kind of takes a little bit of stretch of the imagination. But again, basically this mint is used either for aromatherapy or for making tea. Also, it's very decorative, and it is a little bit on the delicate side, so it takes some babying to get it to grow well. Here I have a pot of oregano growing. I like to grow this in a pot because it's a little bit easier to control, and I can keep the weeds out of it. The flowers are also used for making a spice known as za'atar, and it turns brown, dark brown, and it's used to flavor bread, and it's pretty interesting stuff. It's mostly used in the Middle East, but it's really, really great, and it tastes wonderful if you like a stronger flavor. Oregano, again, is used in a lot of Italian cookery and also in Greek cooking. So the Greeks, pretty much, oregano is their signature herb, whereas basil is the signature herb for Italy. Okay, this is a plant known as rose geranium, and I don't see any flowers at the moment. Usually when you have a geranium or an herb that is used in cooking, the flowers are very tiny compared to other green plants and other geraniums. But this particular geranium plant here, it has a very, very strong aroma of roses, which is really cool. And it is used in making tea, or it can be made to use rose-infused syrups. You just take the fresh leaves and boil them in a sugar syrup, and it gives the aroma and the flavor of roses. Pretty cool stuff. Used in desserts and pastries in the Middle East mostly. Okay, here I have another specimen of mint, and this particular mint has the aroma and flavor of lemon, and you can see that the leaf is shaped a little bit different. It's more flat and has more of a rounded bottom to it, and the leaves are fluted, but they're not as sharply fluted as the spearmint mint that I showed you earlier. So this one is kind of like getting a little out of control here, and the leaves are small, but you can also dry these leaves and use them later in the winter. And again, this plant will also die out a little bit in the winter, but just cut it way back, and then it just comes right back in the springtime. Here we have a very nice specimen of tarragon. Tarragon is one of those herbs that tastes like licorice, and it blends very well with string beans, and can also be used in stews and also to flavor other meats. But it can also be used to make a beverage, and it's very interesting if you like anise or licorice flavor, black licorice flavor. This particular herb likes to die out a little bit in the winter time, but what happens is that once it starts growing again in the spring, you can dig the plant up and separate it out and make many more plants from it. So that's a really cool thing to know about tarragon. This really humongous specimen is fennel. And you can literally find fennel growing all up and down the coast of Southern California. And again, this is another plant that has the smell and taste of licorice. You can use the fronds, okay, which are they kind of look similar to dill, but they're not as closely knit together. Or you can use the seeds. Now these seeds are the fruits of the plant, and they're not quite ready yet. When they get all dry and everything, then you can use the seeds in cooking. A lot of times fennel is used in making sausages and gives it that interesting little licorice type flavor. And of course the bees and the flies love this plant, and you don't have to worry about the bees going after you because they don't want you, they just want the nectar from this flower. But these are the flowers, and they do produce the fruits of the plant, and they're very, very strong licorice flavor, and you can use it to make tea, or you can use it in your food. Well, that concludes the tour of my herbs in my garden that I grow, and I really like having them available because they are kind of expensive in the stores. And this way, whenever I want, I just go out to the garden and pick it fresh and just use whatever I want, and there's no waste. So hopefully you'll get interested in growing herbs. They're not too hard, and it's a lot of fun, very tasty, and good aromatherapy.